Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Najan. Now I would like to presenting the introduction of this assignment. So I will start. Let me start. In the dynamic world of e-commerce, where digital platform have revolutions the way we engage in the trade, fascinating intersections between the modern convenience and also the traditional Islamic principle has emerged. One of the notable manifestations of the harmonious blend is the buy now pay later models, a financial paradigm that has found its ways into a popular online marketplace like Shopee. In the pursuit of enhancing user experience and providing more flexible payment option, so this model has gained attention for its compatibility within the Islamic finance principles. The ethos of the buy now pay later approach resonates with the fundamental tenets of Islamic finance, drawing inspiration from concepts such as mudarabah and murabaha. At the heart of this principle lies a commitment to our fairness, transparency, and ethical business conduct, aligning seamless with the Islamic teaching on e-commerce. As a consumer, increasingly seeks an alternative that balance their financial needs with an adherence to regulate the values. The integrations of this model into a platform like a Shopee serves as the testament of the adaptability and innovation within the Islamic finance. This introduction serves as a gateway to exploring the intricacies of the buy now pay later law within the context of Islamic buying and selling on a Shopee. We embark on a journey to understand the underlying principles, unravels the mechanisms that drive this financial model, and explore its broader implications for the both consumers and business navigating the evolving landscape of the online commerce while upholding the principle of Islamic finance. I think that's all for me. I would like to pass the next task to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Imran and I will explain about identification of issue. The first issue on buy now pay later is about whether there was any riba involved in the transaction. Riba in Islam finance refers to prohibition of usury or any form of interest. Muslims are not allowed to lend money or to receive money from someone with expectation of any benefit or interest. To grow money by lending money is not permissible. This is because money has been kiased as one of ribawi item. Conversely, the charging of any form of interest is explicitly prohibited and is deemed as a sin. This is because when usury happen, one of the side of the participant will be unjust and exploit happen. It is concerned when using buy now pay later method, does the situation of extra payment due to the penalty charge when late payment is considered as riba or not. The second issue of buy now pay later is whether there was a loan or not when we purchase the item. The issue of uncertainty is called gharar. The term gharar defined as excessive uncertainty or undue risk within economic transaction. This proscription aligns with fundamental Islamic principles that emphasize the promotion of fairness, transparency, and ethical conduct in all financial dealings. Buy now pay later has huge uncertain whether it offer buy and sell contract or loan contract. Both contracts are very different between them as it will determine the ownership of the goods. The third issue of buy now pay later is whether any gambling like element are practiced. Gambling or maisir is in harmony with overreaching principle in Islamic finance, underscoring the importance of ethical behavior, equitable risk sharing, and steering clear of practices that introduce uncertainty or exploitation. Buy now pay later service commonly enable consumer to make purchase and delay payment until a later date, often incurring an additional fee or interest. This opens a series of the buyer to may need to gamble whether they can pay on time or gamble whether there was any additional fee or not. Now, I will pass to the next presenter.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Rizkan Zida bin Muhammad Rizwan. I'm from KPA 2494A. Today I will talk about the analysis of issue of buy now pay later. Islamic banking and finance stand on principle that champion morality, transparency and fairness. As we dive into the integration of buy now pay later system within this framework, we encounter notable changes. Riba, the prohibition of excessive interest, embody justice and fair dealings. Buy now pay later, offering deferred payment, raise concern about penalty for late payments, potentially resembling interest. Scholars debate whether this penalty align with traditional loan interest or violate that core value of Islamic finance. Critics highlight buy now pay later penalty, especially for late payment, as mirroring interest rate conflicting with riba principle. Islamic finance promote moral conduct, transparency, and justice. Hence, assessing buy now pay later system compatibility with riba is crucial. To adhere to Sharia standard, buy now pay later system might require alternative model or transparent penalty structure devoid of interest like aspect. Evaluation must ensure compliance with riba ban in Islamic banking. The concept of gharar denoting excessive ambiguity in contract pose concern within buy now pay later agreement, while clarity in term and condition mitigate confusion. Uncertainty around the ownership rights and payment schedule warrant scrutiny in alignment with Islamic finance. Buy now pay later might assemble a deferred payment plan rather than a loan, potentially aligning with Islamic financial principles by sharing risk and reward equitably between buyer and seller. Nevertheless, the complexity of buy now pay later agreement raise horror-related issues that demand clear, transparent, and equitable contractual conditions. In conclusion, buy now pay later offer customer the advantage of deferred payment without interest. It presents challenge within Islamic finance due to potential similarity with interest, ambiguity in contract, and speculative elements. Addressing this concern mandate transparent, equitable contractual conditions aligned with the ethical principle of Islamic finance. That's all from me.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Dina Fikri bin Muhammad Nazri, and I will present about the suggestions and solutions. Buy now pay later schemes in Islamic finance depend on Sharia compliance. Prohibiting interest, uncertainty, and speculation is crucial. Non-compliance arises with interest, uncertainty, or speculation. Structuring buy now pay later without interest aligned with Sharia deems it is permissible. Islamic institutions offer alternatives like murabaha, ijarah, or wakalah, focusing on goods and services, not interest-based lending. Compliance with Sharia principles determines the permissibility of buy now pay later in Islamic finance. Okay, next I will present about the permissibility of buy now pay later. Okay, the first one is avoidance of riba, which is no interest in buy now pay later. Example, customer buys with deferred payment, same total as upfront, no interest. Next is clarity in pricing, which is transparent terms. Buy now pay later outlines total amount, installment schedule, and fees clearly. Next is underlying asset or services. Transaction tied to tangible asset. Example, furniture buy now pay later linked to actual value based on tangible asset. Next is fairness and equity, no exploitation or unjust enrichment. Buy now pay later contract ensures fair treatment, mutually agreed and just terms. And lastly is consent and mutual agreement, which is willing entry into the contract. Example, parties willingly enter buy now pay later for electronic devices with clear consent and no coercion. Okay, next is the non-permissibility of buy now pay later, which is the first one is riba or interest. Impermissible if buy now pay later involve interest. Example, buy now pay later with additional interest charge, contradicting Islamic finance principles. Next is excessive uncertainty or gara, violates the principle if terms are highly uncertain. As example, buy now pay later contract with vague conditions or unclear consequences introducing excessive uncertainty. Next is unjust enrichment, which is non-compliant if terms lead to unfair benefits. Example, buy now pay later benefiting the reseller unfairly with hidden fees. Okay, and lastly is speculation or maisir. Transactions resembling gambling are not allowed. As an example, buy now pay later contract involving speculative elements or a game of chance akin to gambling, which is maisir. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to everyone. My name is Mio Muhammad Irfan, and I will be presenting to you regarding the related maxims for buy now pay later. The principles of mutual consent, transparency, fairness, avoidance of interest, and respect to customary procedures should be considered when applying Islamic jurisprudence to business non-payment list, which is BNPL. Compliance with Islamic ethical and legal standards in financial transaction is ensured by structuring BNPL arrangements in accordance with these principles. Certain recommendations can be given by Islamic scholars and financial specialists depending on the specific of each BNPL model. Maxim 12. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uslu fil uqudi rida al-muta'aqidaini وموجبها ما أوجبه على أنفسهما بالتعاقد. The meaning, the general principle conferring validity of contracts is the consent of both parties, and the effective terms and conditions are what they agreed. For this maxim, it emphasized the fundamental idea of Islamic contracts, which states that consent from both parties is required for a contract to be enforceable, subject to voluntary agreements by both parties, and the terms that are in effect are those that have been agreed to by both. It consistent with the larger Islamic ethical frameworks, which are consent by both parties, effective terms and conditions, transparency and clarity, avoidance of unfair conditions, and Islamic finance principles that is followed. Maxim 4. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-uslu baqa'u ma kana ala ma kana. The meaning, the basic rule is that a thing remains in its original state. For this maxim, it is also said to be al-ashlu fil ash'a'il al-ibtida in Arabic, which summarized the idea that everything is acceptable as it was in the beginning unless there is evidence to the contrary. It can be used in the context of buy now pay later in the following ways, which is the permissibility by default, traditional business transactions, avoidance of prohibited element, customary practices, and the adaptation to Islamic finance principles. That is all from me, and now I will give it to the next presenter. Assalamu alaikum.